Welcome back to part 3 of this 4-part virtual presentation skills mini course. Let's get back into the content where today we're going to be talking about how to really deliver with confidence. What's true is that everyone wants to appear really confident when they speak, when they do presentations, either live or virtually. But what happens is that people make really subtle mistakes that make them appear less confident than they actually are. So I want to share those 3 mistakes with you today and then give you some strategies and action items so you can avoid making these mistakes, so you can appear more confident when you're speaking. And then, of course, when you appear more confident, you in turn feel more confident because you get that positive feedback loop. So mistake number 1 for why you're going to appear less confident when you're giving a presentation, and this is specifically true for virtual presentations, is that your energy is too flat. Have you ever watched a video of yourself, maybe a recording that you made, and you cringe? You just really feel like, oh God, why do I look that way? I look so serious. I look kind of dour, or there's like this heaviness to my presence. And what's true is that when you're on camera, you have to bring that energy up, or else you're going to appear kind of lifeless. You're not going to appear confident, and you're going to also feel not so approachable. So mistake number 1 is having flat energy, and it's not what you want when you're trying to keep people's attention and engage people, especially through the camera. Okay, mistake number 2 for why you would appear less confident on camera is a lack of expressiveness. So I see this all the time. I watch people giving presentations, and from the beginning to the end, they have the same facial expression. They're not very dynamic. They essentially look like a talking head in a frame. So this lack of expressiveness, it causes several things to happen. Number 1, it causes your audience to be a bit bored. It makes you not very watchable. And third, it makes you seem like you don't really have confidence or passion or enthusiasm about what you're saying. So mistake number 2 is lack of expressiveness. Mistake number 3 that's going to cause you to appear less confident on camera is not connecting with the audience. Sure, presenting on camera makes it harder to connect with the audience. You oftentimes can't see them, and it's really hard to gauge their reactions. But that doesn't mean that you can just skip connecting with the audience. It's something that you have to do whether you're in person or whether you're presenting virtually. In fact, if you don't find ways to connect with your audience, you might come across as nervous, cold, dispassionate, and it's really going to affect how the people on the other side of your camera feel about you, and whether they feel engaged in what you're saying as well. So what are some ways that you can connect with the audience even in a virtual environment? I'll share some strategies for you next. All right, so strategy number 1 for how to deliver with more confidence is to use 10% more energy when you're talking on camera. So 10% more energy. This is more than your normal speaking style. You're adding energy to the camera. You are shooting energy through that camera lens. And the way you can do this, one of the simplest ways to do this is simply to stand up when you're presenting. When you stand up, you have a lot more energy because your core is engaged, your legs are engaged, and frankly, you're able to be more dynamic with your gestures and with your body movements as well. So you want to stand up to give 10% more energy when you are presenting, so you're more watchable, so you look more confident. Here's an action item for you. I want you to make a recording of yourself presenting. Maybe you've got a presentation coming up and you've got the beginning of your presentation. You can record a couple of minutes of it. I want you to make 2 recordings. One, I want you to make the recording just normally as you would do. Maybe you're sitting down in a chair. Maybe you are, using your normal energy level. So record that for video number 1. And then video number 2, try this strategy. Try using 10% more energy, stand up, smile a little bit more with your eyes when you're talking, and then compare those 2 videos and see which one do you connect with more, which one is more engaging, which one do you look more confident in. And I guarantee you that if you are using 10% more energy, you're going to find that it gives you more confidence. And it's also, frankly, it's just a bit more fun when you're presenting too, because you have more life and you're more engaged in what you're saying. Strategy number 2 for how to deliver with more confidence is to be expressive. Be expressive. So I'm talking about using your face, and I'm talking about using your hands and your arms to talk. Really, what we want is we want a range of expression. We don't want your face looking the same the whole way through, and we don't want your arms just down by your side or in a certain pose for the entire time that you're doing your presentation. So I want you to practice using your face and using your hands to express yourself, so there are ups and downs in your communication. It's more interesting to watch, and so you appear more confident as well. So one way to do this, one action item that you can do is, again, try recording yourself. Have your script or whatever you're going to say, and I want you to challenge yourself in this video to hit a gesture on the first word that you're going to say. So for example, if I say the first thing we're going to talk about today, then I'm hitting that number 1 right away. And the reason why I want you to do this is because generally what happens, I see this a lot, as I tell people, use gestures when you talk. What happens is they'll wait until, like 30 seconds in, and then they'll hit a gesture. And what happens is it's really jarring for the viewer, and it's also nerve-wracking for you, because you're thinking in your head, I've got to hit that gesture. I've got to do it. I need to do it. And then finally you do it. So I challenge you just to do it right away, and that will help you maintain those gestures as you go. So challenge yourself to make a recording of something short, hit a gesture on your first phrase, your first word, and then try to continue using those gestures as you go. And try the same for your facial expressions. Give your audience a smile. Make your eyes look surprised if you're sharing something that may be surprising. Give them something to look at. Make yourself watchable, and you will appear more confident. Strategy number 3 for how to deliver with more confidence when you are on camera is to make eye contact with the lens. So obviously it's really challenging to make eye contact when you're giving a virtual presentation, because you can't really see the people in the room. And frankly, if you can see the people in the room, they're probably not looking at you, they're looking down at their screen. So it can be challenging, but here's what you need to do is you need to make eye contact with the lens, no matter whether you can see them or not. So right now, for example, I know exactly where my lens is. It's right here. And I'm looking directly into that lens because I know that that's how to make eye contact with you. I'm not looking down at my screen. I'm not looking at myself in my little camera video display monitor thingy, because I know that looking here is how I'm making eye contact with you. Sure, it feels a little strange because I'm staring into a black hole, but I'm doing it because I understand that this creates trust, this creates connection, and it is also more engaging, and it makes me look more confident. So it's basically, it's what you need to do even though it feels uncomfortable doing it. Now, of course, you can't stare into the camera all the time, especially if you're giving a presentation. Sometimes you need to look at your screen to see what the slide is, or you need to gauge the reactions of the audience. And I get all of that. But An action item for you is to try in your next presentation, try looking into the camera at least 60% of the time, or at least 50% of the time. Really challenge yourself. Definitely do it at the beginning of your presentation, when you're welcoming people, when you're saying what your main message is, when you're telling a story. Make eye contact with that lens. And I'm going to give you another action item here too, because I think this will be really helpful for you. And that is, take a little Post-it note and put it next to the lens on your camera. So most people are going to be using the cameras on their computers, and you get that little green light when it's on. Put a Post-it note right next to it and maybe draw an arrow on that, and maybe a little smiley face to remind yourself that you want to look into that lens when you're speaking at least 60% of the time, at least 50% of the time. Challenge yourself to really make eye contact with that lens so you can appear more confident, so you can appear more approachable, and so your audience feels like they can trust you more and they're more engaged by what you're saying. So in this video, you learned 3 subtle yet very common mistakes that people make that prevent them from delivering with confidence. And you also learned 3 strategies for how to avoid those mistakes. And those are using 10% more energy when you present, being more expressive, and also making eye contact with the lens. Next up, we're going to be talking about aesthetics and the story behind them. I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.